From the Apopka Studios in Oklahoma City, you're watching The Press Row. I'm Jenny Carlson, here with Barry Trammell. Time for Inbox. Barry, email questions, answers here on video. We're going to talk about all sorts of things, a myriad of topics this week, but we're going to start with a little baseball. Your favorite topic. You love baseball.
I love baseball history. Just don't make me watch the games.
Well, this one's right up your alley then. This one comes from Jim. Jim says, I'm glad Albert Pujols signed with the Angels. Now there will be no more discussions regarding who was the greatest Cardinal ball player of them all, obviously in reference to the passing of Stan Musial.
Yeah, and it's a great point. If you remember, a year and a half ago, before Albert Pujols left the Cardinals, signed with the Angels, there was a pretty good debate. Can Pujols surpass Stan the Man Musial as the greatest Cardinal of them all, the best Cardinal hitter, the most beloved Cardinal, whatever? And the answer now, of course, is no. When he went to California, he severed those ties, and now Stan the Man reigns supreme. And it shows you the staying power of Musial and the consistency of Musial and how he captured that city. We're going on 60, 70 years. And he still has the hold as, the most beloved athlete in St. Louis history, the favorite athlete in St. Louis history. That's not going to change. Good luck, Sam Bradford. Win a few Super Bowls. You can get in the discussion, but I don't think you're going to catch Stan the Man.
Well, you talk about the beloved nature of Stan the Man, Stan Musial in St. Louis. My brother has a girlfriend who grew up a St. Louis Cardinals fan, and they're both younger than I am, so she's still in her 20s, and she loves Stan the Man. I mean, when he died, she put something on Facebook about it, and here she is, she wasn't around when he was playing, doesn't remember any of those days, but obviously knows the history, and I think that extends to all of Cardinal Nation, a lot of fans here in Oklahoma even who are Cardinals fans. So, and Barry, you wrote a great column on Musial, and just the numbers that he had and the longevity, the excellence. I mean, it's hard to imagine anybody ever coming close to him in St. Louis, and frankly, anywhere else in modern day baseball.
Yeah, just a great icon.
All right, back to the inbox. This one comes from Paul. Paul says, I'm always amused when I read or hear that running quarterbacks will be the future of the NFL. Or whatever. When Jeff Fisher was with the Titans, he wouldn't let Vince Young run the zone read option enough, so he limited a great tool he had on his team. And he can't get a job in the NFL, meaning Vince Young. What about that, Barry?
Well, Vince Young can't get a job in the NFL for this reason. He can't throw straight. You can't depend on his arm. That's what makes Colin Kaepernick such a phenom with the 49ers headed to the Super Bowl. He can run like Vince Young, and he can throw like Tom Brady or somebody. Not as productive as Tom Brady, but he's got a strong arm, and it's accurate. He can put it in there. Vince Young had a strong arm, but you didn't always know where it was going. His decision-making was weak. If you're saying that the Titans could have gotten more mileage out of Vince Young by running him more, I'd say probably so. You weren't risking a great long-term career because a guy who can't throw is not going to make it in the NFL.
Isn't this really just the evolution of the dual-threat quarterback? Before, what dual-threat meant was you were really good running the ball and you were okay throwing the ball. Now we're starting to see these guys who are really good doing both things and really accurate throwing the ball, but really deadly with their feet. And frankly, I think it's a little bit like point guards. For a while in basketball, if you had a point guard who wasn't, sort of the guy who runs up the floor and holds up the play and, directs traffic and gets a bunch of assists, he was probably not very good passing the ball. Well, we've seen that evolve too, where you see point guards now who are equally good at distributing and shooting and creating their own shots. I think it's the same with quarterbacks. So that evolution, maybe we haven't seen it to this point, but maybe this is where we really start to see it kick in as these guys are more deadly in both ways. All right, back to the inbox. This one's from Craig. Craig says, after all the very contentious talk from Seattle directed at Oklahoma City for the past 5 years, I wonder if the Seattle fan base feels somewhat hypocritical now that they're going after Sacramento's team. Barry, the question about a relocated team to Seattle. What about this?
Well, now the truth is this. Oklahoma City fans, people, whoever, we shouldn't care. Just ignore it. Who cares? But if you got to look into it, don't get too much worked up because the situations are totally different. When Clay Bennett bought the Sonics, he said, here's a year to get a deal done. I'll help you, but if we don't get an arena a year, we're out of here. The deal with Seattle, buying the Seattle group, buying Sacramento, we're moving the team. So what Clay Bennett did for Seattle, much greater than what the Seattle group is doing for Sacramento. The two aren't alike.
Yeah, definitely some differences there. But I think there's some irony here. I mean, and you know what? We all knew at some point the NBA was going back to Seattle. Too good of a market. Didn't have the arena, but now looks like they're set to get an arena deal done that would give them a new place to play. And I think anybody that saw the Thunder leave thought, well, if Seattle can ever agree to a new arena, the NBA will go back there. It's a great market, a good place to be, and here they are getting a chance. I'm happy for them. You know, I'm happy that they get a chance to have NBA basketball back, but sad for Sacramento, Barry. I don't think you can't not feel bad for Sacramento. This is their only sport. It'd be like Oklahoma City losing the Thunder. We know how that would tear at us. So I think it's disappointing for Sacramento. But it looks like Seattle may be the beneficiary in all of this. All right, back to the inbox one last time. This one from Michael. Michael says, do you think Landry Jones might slip into the second or third round? What about that, Barry? Where is his NFL stock right now?
Well, I still think Landry Jones has a good chance to go late in the first round because I think quarterbacks tend to rise in the draft, not slip. And, yeah, they pick you apart. They find all your flaws. And then they said, you know what, we need a quarterback. And they start drafting quarterbacks. So I think Landry still has a shot at the first round. I do think he could fall into the second round. I see no way he goes to the third. But I think the Combine in February will be very huge. What will happen there? That's a place where you can really make a name for yourself with what you're doing, much more than, say, the Senior Bowl. So I haven't studied the draft order. I have not studied which teams really are focusing on a quarterback. But the closer you get to the draft, the more teams start sweating and say, you know what? We need a quarterback.
I'm going to say right now Landry Jones is going to be a first-round draft pick because of what Barry just said, that quarterbacks are in such demand and teams are so desperate in a lot of instances to have a guy that I think he's going to be a first-round draft pick. And you know what? I don't know how he's going to test physically at the Combine. You know, he's not a dual threat guy, so he's not going to be asked to run around a bunch. I think all of his physical numbers will probably be okay. But I think he'll test pretty good when it comes to the sit-down meetings. I think he's a guy that when he sits down and starts breaking down film and talking to coaches, I think he'll impress some people, and I think that'll definitely help. He might be a second rounder, but I'm saying first round. I think he goes in the first round, first Sooner off the board. Hey, be sure to stay with the best coverage team anywhere at newsok.com and every day in the Oklahoman.